I think that's working now. Let's see. A little bit of technical issues today. It's kind of funny. Hey everybody, Melinda. It's good seeing you all again. Another deeply inspired moment. So there's a phrase that that came out today as I'm searching around and looking for it that really just touched my heart. And it was a picture about a woman standing in front of a wall of voice bubbles and all the things that have been told to women across the from ages. And I know this isn't just about women, but it's just this was to a woman, and the theme of it is nevertheless she persisted. And I sent that to my daughter today, and I have a beautiful, amazing, almost 24-year-old, and I just told her, no matter what, just continue being you. And it was so important that she know that. And in conjunction with that, certainly in my own life, and I know many of you have had the experience of being judged for how you are and who you are, but people don't know what your background is, don't know what your history is, don't know the trials and tribulations that you've been experiencing. And so those are all the amazing things that make you you. And it reminded me of a picture that I had posted a long time ago. Do not judge. You don't know what storm I've asked her to walk through, says God. And both of these together just really came in such a powerful way for me today. This idea that that we are up against so much negativity, that we are up against so much judgment and criticism for who we are and how we are. And it's not just women, it's just we humans, beings, we as people are up against so much, and it's very challenging to stay true, to stay in that place of ever being persistent, and to, no matter what, just continue to persist on. And that to me is really a powerful thing to remember. There's my video again. Come on,
that
quiet.
To me is really
Alright, I'm not going to get to see who's on because I can't get that to turn off. Anyways, so I just want to invite you to look at where you've been, look at the trials that you've had, and the things that you've had to walk through, the storms that you've had to walk through, and look at the marks, look at the scars, look at the reactivity that still remains, and can you bless it? Can you just own it and go, you know what, it's okay? And so I have some glitches, yes, and I have been harshly judged and harshly criticized for the glitches that I have, and I have worked my ass off in this lifetime to move out of that reactivity, and I have done volumes of healing, volumes, and I know so many of you have as well. And yet some of the tics, some of the scars, some of the wounds, some of the pain remains, and we're still reacting to it, we're still acting it out. And that is difficult. That is hard to see the remnants of our past still showing up. And maybe we can be the ones that stop judging ourselves for it. Maybe we can be the ones that, regardless of what anyone outside of us knows, and looks at us and judges us for, that we know what we've persisted through. We know the storms that we've walked through, and we know how far we've come, and we're going to be the only one that does. That's the hard part, I think, is that we're the only person that knows the storm as intimately as we've experienced it. We're the only one that knows just how back-breaking, ball-breaking it's been to get to the point where we are now, where we're a little less reactive, or maybe a whole lot less reactive. We're the only one that can really look at within ourselves and go, you know what, good job. And okay, so you're having a moment. All right, you're okay. And when that outside criticism comes in, to not let it crumble you, to not let it shatter you back into that place of, I'll always be broken, I'll never be better, this is just always going to plague me, why do I always fall back down? To not fall into that place is really hard. And yet you persist. And so I invite you to look up that that little image today, and look at, fill in your own voice bubbles. Maybe we should just all, have one with just a bunch of blank voice bubbles, and there's one for a boy and one for a girl, and we can fill in our own voice bubbles. And what have you fought against? What have you had to rise up against just to continue to move on? What is it within you that has had to swim upstream? And how far have you gotten? I did this amazing visualization last night. I'm partaking in Jean Houston's Unlock Your Quantum Potential course. It's a 7-week course, and it's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. And we're just, getting started. And she had us do this amazing practice of, in my right hand stood the energy of my father, in my left hand stood the energy of my mother, and stepping into that quantum self, that quantum being, and feeling the trials and tribulations and the successes of our parents, and then expanding out and feeling the next generation and the next generation. And we continued to move on, and Jean's asking us, well, what do you feel now, and what are they doing now, and are they creating textiles, are they going to war, are they tending the fields, are they planting flowers, are they learning about fire? Like, we went back through the ages of time to feel and see and appreciate what our ancestors have done. And then bringing it forward, coming back through the generations, sending that blessing, sending that gratitude back to our ancestors. Thank you. Thank you for what you did. Thank you for what you've persevered through. Thank you for what you fought against. Thank you for what you stood for. Thank you for being in that place of learning and growing. And they didn't get it either. And we're not going to get into this perfection state that we hold for ourselves. They did what they did. They got as far as they could, and they passed that learning on to the generations that came after them. And so sending that gratitude, and in that place where there's no time, no space, no past, no present, no future, sending gratitude into them. And then she walked us through this idea of them being in their moment, doing whatever they're doing, and receiving this kindness, receiving this gratitude. And what's that? Is that an angel? That must be an angel. I feel this kindness, this warmth coming in. Oh, that must be an angel. That must be my guardian. Where is that coming from? And that idea that we can bless and appreciate all the strife and all the struggle and all the loss and all the successes and all the learning that our generations past have brought us to this moment. And yet we persist. And through all the fighting and through all the loss and all the grief and all the growth and all the joy and all the brilliance and all the beauty, we persist. We keep going. And that evolutionary process will never stop. It's just going to keep going. So you're going to get where you get, and your children will get where they get, and it will always be an evolutionary step. My daughter is already leaps and bounds ahead of where I was when I was her age. Leaps and bounds. She is amazing, and she has her struggles, and I was not always in the most stable place in my life back then. I was really struggling from the storms that God asked me to walk through. And so we're all going to have that impact on the people around us, be it our children, our partners, our coworkers. We're always going to have that impact. And can you begin to be more kind and gentle? Can you know that they chose that? Can you know that we have all come together in agreement to have these experiences together? We agreed to all of it. We came in knowing that we were going to do these soul courses. I came in to learn about self-kindness, self-love, to learn about what it is to be a light keeper, to be a truth keeper. I am standing firm in that position. That is my pole position in humanity right now. That's what I'm doing in the herd. I plan on being the light keeper and shining light in very dark places. And I have walked through very dark places in order to stand there stably and be able to shine light into them. And so what have you persisted through? What was your storm? And who's judged you for it? And can you just allow them to have their naivete? Because that is all that is. It's just naive on their part to even begin to judge anyone for who you are now. They just didn't know. And had they walked your shoes, had they walked your path, had they walked through your storm, they would go, oh, I get it. And can you do that for yourself? Can you give yourself that level of kindness, that level of acknowledgement? Can you acknowledge the storms you've walked through? Because no one else is going to. They don't know. And can you persist? Can you continue to get up each day and do it again, knowing that you're going to be bombarded with all sorts of messages and judgments and people not understanding where you've been? And will you get up tomorrow and do the same thing again? And continue to fight the good fight, and to know that you are growing and evolving at your perfect pace. And it's not going to look like anyone else's ever. It's just not. Keep going. Persist. I'm really conflicted around the whole resist thing. It's just not where my energy's aligned right now, and that's okay. And I bless those who are in the resistance, and I think it's important to continue to bring out truth and to shed light on the inequities and the oppression. And yes, please do what you were called to do, and continue to persist. Stand in your truth. Stand in your kindness, stand in your love and your grace, and we collectively are creating the learning for the next generation, and they too will go, thank you, elders, thank you for doing what you did that brought us to this place. Thank you for your failures. Thank you for things collapsing and falling apart. Thank you for going through that experience, because from creation as much as destruction we learn. And those are in balance in nature. I have never seen nature be out of balance and not bring herself back. There is always creation, but there is always destruction. And so it looks like we're in a little bit of a destructive cycle, maybe just a little bit. Certain things are being destroyed, and it happens in nature all the time. And I embrace that. I welcome that. And I choose to remain to know my truth. I am light. I am pure potential. I am all. And so are you. And so let's go forward today and be a little kinder, and remember, everybody's got their storms they're walking through. And however they look in this moment is the sum total of what they've walked through. And you have no idea how hard they've worked just to get to this place. And if they look a little messy in front of you, it's okay. Let them be a little messy. And if you're feeling a little messy and a little out of sorts and people are judging you, it's okay. They just don't know. But you do. So drop the dismissiveness and send kindness, love, and mercy into yourself. All right, I couldn't get my phone to work, so I don't know who's on, but for all of those of you that are watching again, thank you so much. I send you many blessings, and I ask you to walk very, very gently with yourself through these next days, through these next months, these weeks, months, and even the next few years. It feels like we are sitting on the precipice of something grand, something great. And as things fall away that no longer serve us, what is it that we choose to build? And what I choose to build is a foundation of truth and light to stand on, to embrace all the darkness that that I hold within me, that is reflected out in the world, and I send love and mercy into that. And I ask you to look within yourself and stand in your truth and persist. Much love to you all. Take care.